people at Lookuptv across all your social media platforms. My name is Simba Kiage. Good morning. Thank you very much for choosing to begin your day with us right here on Lookuptv on this 17th of October 2023. A day when indeed the conversations around the demolitions around Athi River are taking center stage in the country. We're going to talk about that this morning, and also the seeming fight between Mudavadi and CS Kuria over tenancy. We also mentioned that this morning. We're looking at other issues that are trending in the government today. It is a good day then for us to jump right into our conversations this morning. You can actually get to us online at Lookuptv across all your social media platforms. I am at Kiage Simba. Well, for now, we take a tiny breather, we come back, and I jump straight into the newspapers. Let's start with the Daily Nation. The biggest story here is NMS ghosts come for Uhuru allies. Now, this is House team that is calling for forensic audit of Nairobi Metropolitan Services operations amid questions over tendering for city hospitals after Auditor General flagged several irregularities in a 2021-2022 report. See that story on pages 4 and 5 of the Daily Nation. We've been conned, thefts, arrests, tears on day 4 of demolitions that are ongoing at the river. Now, police make several arrests of people caught stealing building materials as homeowners battle to save their belongings from bulldozers out to crush their houses and dreams into rubble. Well, that story is still unfolding, by the way, and we've been following it right here on Lookuptv. Majority of this is also awash on our website on www.lookuptv.co.ke. There's big story here on how magistrates now has freed 791 million shillings NYS suspects. Former NYS boss Nelson Gitinji, former devolution PS Peter Mangiti, and businessman Ben Gevi acquitted for lack of evidence. There's a particular big story again that is developing in the country this morning on page 3. Now, RUTO is scouting for public-private deals in China. Read that particular story, and there's a fantastic story here of the untold story of Kenya's forgotten fastest blind woman. That story covered on page 38. Another bigger story here on the Daily Nation is on page 5 with Raila Amolo Odinga now saying he did not endorse Kalonzo 2027 State House run. That's according, this is a completely different story because the Nation yesterday was talking about how Raila Amolo Odinga has endorsed Kalonzo Musyoka for 2027. This morning, it is a different story of them saying, well, it did not endorse Kalonzo Musyoka. Read that particular story on page 5. Good. Let's then cross over to the Standard this morning. It's the same story. Land evictions, blood, sweat and lies. And what we're going to talk about this morning as well with our analyst, who I'm going to introduce shortly, or joining us in the studio, is the sentiments of President William Ruto that are stark different with what's going on currently in the country. And let me just read for you a quote by DP Rigathi Gachagua. The Ruto administration will have zero tolerance to inhumane eviction like it happened before. That will not happen in his term as the president. As we talk about this particular story this morning, some Kenyan citizens, by the way, are out in the cold this morning, even as the impending El Nino rains then continue to take shape in the country. We talk about that this morning. There's also RUTO Inc.'s Energy Telcos MOU in China. That particular story covered on page 6. And what way for new UHC rollout plan? That story also covered on page 8. That's it. Those are the biggest stories that have been covered on the Standard this morning. Now you do know exactly what it is that you are going to wake up to. Majority of these stories again covered heavily on our website on www.lookuptv.co.ke. Once we come back, I'll be taking you straight to whatever it is that you're waking up to in our newsroom. Welcome back. Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition leader Raila Odinga has dismissed reports that he is endorsing Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka as the coalition's presidential candidate in the 2027 general election. Odinga's spokesperson Dennis Onyango stated on Monday that the prize for Kalonzo should not be interpreted as the party's position on its 2027 political ambitions, given that the elections are 4 years away. Let's take a look at that.
The supposed endorsement of Kalonzo Musyoka as the next flag bearer for Azimio coalition in the 2027 election has generated significant interest and discussion in the political arena.
Juzi nilisikia kama RUTO alikuwa pande anasema tu unajua baba hata simama, sasa mimi nitakuwa na Kalonzo tu.
During Oburu's 80th birthday, Azimio coalition leader Raila Odinga showered praises to Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka, falling short of publicly announcing that Kalonzo will take the mantle in the 2027 general elections. Odinga described Kalonzo as a highly capable and trustworthy leader.
Si tutasimama kidete na ndugu Kalonzo Musyoka. Yeye ni mtu mwaminifu. Tumeelewana vizuri.
However, Azimio coalition has issued a statement contradicting the earlier remarks made by former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, asserting that the information should not be interpreted as the Azimio's position on 2027 political ambitions. The statement reads as follows. The Right Honorable Raila Odinga recognizes that 4 years before Kenyans go for another presidential elections is way too early for a political party to name its presidential candidate. Mr. Odinga therefore clarified that his praise for His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka for standing with him in the 3 successive elections, the Wiper leader's strong Christian values, the support Mr. Musyoka has built across the country, was not an endorsement of Mr. Musyoka as the Azimio presidential candidate in 2027. Rather, the praise was acknowledgement and appreciation of the past deeds that are in public domain. Mr. Odinga views Azimio as a coalition of equals, in which every leader stands a fair and equal chance to emerge as the presidential candidate in 2027, depending on each leader's relationship with the party membership. The candidate will, however, not be named until a year or just months to the 2027 general elections. Mr. Odinga, however, believes that Mr. Musyoka has what it takes to beat Honorable William RUTO in a free and fair presidential contest, contrary to Mr. RUTO's recent claims that he will easily beat the Wiper leader. Mr. Odinga further assures Azimio supporters and the country that he plans to remain very active in party and national politics all the way to 2027. His words for praise for Mr. Musyoka were therefore not intended to mean he had or intends to quit active politics. The statement, upon being released, has raised concerns and sparked alarm among Kenyans about Azimio's political strategy for the upcoming 2027 general election. Njegi Timothy, Lookuptv.
Prime Cabinet Secretary and Cabinet Secretary for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs Musalia Mudavadi has landed in South Sudan and received by Ambassador Major General Samuel Nandua, Minister of Presidential Affairs Benjamin Mariel Banaba, among other leaders. Now, the Prime Cabinet Secretary is scheduled to meet with His Excellency Simba Kiage, President of the Republic of Southern Sudan, and convey a special message from our President William RUTO. William Ruto has asserted that his government will only support foreign investors who can engage in the value addition of the country's abundant raw materials, especially in energy, water and housing sectors, urging Chinese investors to exploit existing opportunities in Kenya in the fields of energy, water and housing. Rugaival with the details.
With great dedication, President William Ruto listens keenly to the China President's translator, Xi Jinping, informing him of what to look forward in the Third Belt and Road Initiative BRI conference as Xi trickles down the programming of the conference, this being the first he is attending since he rose into power, with the objective of attracting more investors in the country. The president has clearly stated his expectations from the government of China following their commercial proposals in his country. Attentively listening to the proposals, 16 representatives, 8 from each country, tabled their reasonings.
We continue to look for opportunities to even the trade between our two countries by exploring possibilities of exports from Kenya, whether it is our avocados, the tea, coffee, macadamia, and I'm happy that we are now exploring possibilities of the sectors of livestock, both beef and leather products. Again, that would help cement and consolidate the relationship between Kenya and China.
President William Ruto started with acknowledging that Chinese investors must exploit existing opportunities in Kenya in the fields of energy, water and housing, saying Kenya will only support foreign investors who can engage in the value addition of the country's economy in abundant raw materials. Ruto emphasizes that interested investors must increase the value of its resources and natural resources.
Kenya is a great champion of renewable energy, and that is why our grid is almost 93% renewable. And that is a deliberate decision that we made as a country. And I'm very happy that you have technologies that can work with us to leverage on our renewable energy assets.
He made these remarks in an extensive tour of China's Engineering Corporation Limited in Beijing, where during the tour, he witnessed the signing of a memorandum of understanding between the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum and Energy in China. The MOU entails optimizing flexibility and reliability of electrical power system, planning, designing, transformation and modernization of power generation, transmission lines, distribution lines and substations, utilizing or unlocking the potential of renewable energy and advanced energy storage for supporting higher domestic energy sufficiency and electricity interchange, digitalization, modernizing and innovative management of power systems and power plants. The MOU was signed by Energy Principal Secretary Alex Washira on behalf of Kenya, while Liu Zishang signed on behalf of China Energy International Group. The two parties also agreed to continue to cultivate digital skills and enhance capacity building in Kenya. By signing the MOU, both highlighted there is need to develop green, digital and creative economy in Kenya. Rugaival, Lookuptv.
Let's move on now. The State Department of Public Service Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria has on Monday, while assuming office, revealed that Kenyans seeking services from Huduma centers will soon be forced to part with some cash to be accorded assistance. Kuria also stated that the ministry plans to empower key government institutions, among them KSG and the NYS, to help in service delivery. Stanley Lugarian our reports.
Public Service Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria, while assuming office of the State Department of Public Service from outgoing CS Ayushua Jumwa at Harambee House, has hinted at the introduction of charges for services offered around Huduma centers across the country, as well as providing private sector services at a fee while venturing into e-commerce to boost revenue generation.
We are also going to use our Huduma centers and interest the private sector to trust us in service delivery, even in services which have got nothing to do with the government. Because clearly, if this is one area where the public sector is doing much better than even the private sector, And so why not offer our services even for the private sector?
CS Kuria has also revealed that his ministry is poised to partner with key government functions such as the National Youth Service NYS, which is said will bolster the agricultural sector, revive the manufacturing sector in the country, inculcate the culture of patriotism by serving as a tool of hope and discipline to Kenyan youth, including the Kenya School of Government KSG, which is set to widen Kenyan influence as a government training hub, poised to start training the rest of African states on matters governance.
We will be able to make the National Youth Service a major contributor in driving this country forward. You can also expect some major transformation in the Kenya School of Government to assist the country in areas which we don't understand, which are not historically part of our forte, areas like climate change, areas like green finance, and I've had a discussion with Dr. Rudeki Chewa, who is a Director General there.
Kuria, fresh from the Ministry of Trade and Industrialization, has called on all public servants to be productive, signaling countrywide invigilation on all projects as government grapples with time in actualizing goals and service delivery to its citizens.
For public servants to make a decision, a rational decision, a deliberate decision, whether they want to continue to be paying to this country or they want to be part of adding value to these people who contribute to the taxes with which they are paid.
Stanley Lugaria, Lookuptv.
Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua now says that the government is on a course with its plans to fully roll out universal health coverage. According to Gachagua, out of the 141.2 billion shillings allocated to the Ministry of Health, 18.4 billion shillings will be spent on UHC. He called for collaboration with county governments to support primary health care to rid Kenyans of the burden of disease. Gachagua was speaking during the official opening of the 4-day UHC exhibition and conference that is taking place at Kaptatet Stadium in Kericho County ahead of the Mashujaa Day celebrations happening Friday.
His visit in Kericho started in Keboge to assess the effectiveness of service in remote areas as he geared himself to officially launch the 4-day Universal Healthcare Coverage Conference, insisting that the government is committed in ensuring every Kenyan has access to healthcare.
That the RUTO administration is investing in promoting preventive healthcare to the grassroots in collaboration with our counties. This is alongside the ongoing reforms in the National Health Insurance Fund to enhance access to quality health care as enshrined in our Constitution. We are closely working with counties in establishing sustainable structures of promoting preventive health as envisioned under the universal health coverage. In this regard, we have allocated 141.2 billion Kenya shillings to the Ministry of Health, with at least 18.4 billion shillings going into the universal health coverage. We are determined to meeting and surpassing the minimum target of 15% of the national budget to the health sector, as per the Abuja Declaration of 2001.
The DP commended the community health promoters who will be responsible for ensuring that everyone has access to healthcare.
I wish to commend the community health promoters who have been engaged for this assignment. You are our heroes this Mashujaa Day. We can't pay you enough for the splendid work you are already undertaking. Once again, we count on your utmost dedication to deliver to Kenyans the promise of universal health coverage.
Now, residents of East Africa, Portland land, continue to decry the inhumane manner in which the government is forcing them off their land. Home preservation, which has now reached the 4th day, has resulted in property worth millions of shillings being destroyed, while owners rush against time to save what they can.
As bulldozers bring down palatial homes, others are racing against time to salvage a few household items and roofs. Homeowners narrate painful tales of how they acquired the disputed land, which the court ruled last week belongs to Portland Cement.
Shamba ya Portland. Na kama kwa kweli serikali inasema inataka kuuza, mimi kama mbunge wa Mavoko tumefanya vikao mbalimbali na Portland na wakakubali watauzia wananchi wakaji wa Machakos County hiyo ama hilo shamba.
Some were duped by land selling companies and possessed title deeds they believed are genuine. Some possess share certificates. Interestingly, some claim to have secured bank loans using the said documents to develop the plots they acquired. They cry for that while there is a ruling on ownership of the land, the court did not order demolitions, which they say have been carried out without any notice.
We have woken up to very shocking news of our people being demolished for their properties in their ancestral land and being kicked out. This government has always purported internationally to be a government that is caring. But what we have seen has shocked all of us because we have realized that they absolutely have no humanitarian assistance to our people.
What is more disheartening is that some owners pay the relevant fees for building approvals from the county government and the National Construction Authority. The once lucrative shopping center, which reported booming business from the large population, has been reduced to rubble. Churches and schools have not been spared, to the chagrin of helpless residents.
Ni nini ngumu kusettle watu wa Machakos hapa? What is so difficult in settling the people of Machakos? I am very disappointed and I'm very annoyed. Na ni vizuri tumejua sisi kama viongozi wa Ukambani mali tumewekwa. And I want to say, without mincing my word as the governor of Machakos, mimi sitakubalia hata inchi moja ya shamba yetu iende. I will not accept.
On the other hand, police officers overseeing the demolitions have been reduced to cat and mouse running battles with criminals stealing scrap metals and salvaged items. Despite the plea of locals and Ukambani leaders for the government to stop the demolitions, the massive destruction of property is ongoing on the earmarked 4,268 acres of land. Bridget Agola, Lookuptv.
So let's ask this question this morning. If indeed the demolitions at Earth River indeed should continue the way they're continuing, they've entered the fourth day. We're going to investigate exactly what has changed in heart or feeling from the government in their approach in these demolitions that are ongoing. That's the first question. Second question then, Moses Kuria is taken over office and has made a major announcement that maybe very soon you will have to pay for you to get access for the services at Huduma Center. It's like an access fee then for you to get those services at Huduma Center. The questions around this is if indeed those services that you are going to get are paid for, just like it is in majority of the cases. Do we really need to pay for services at Huduma Center? And finally then, talk about what's going on between Moses Kuria and Mudavadi. Is there a tiff over tenancy? Once we come back right here on The Morning Drift, join us online at Lookuptv across all your social media platforms. But also, top of the issues that we're going to talk about this morning, the endorsement of Raila Amolo Odinga for a Kalonzo Musyoka presidency. Or is it? Once we come back.
Are you a civil servant and looking for financial breakthrough? You can now apply for the salary check-off loan from Juhudi Kilimo, a solution that is available for salaried employees that have a check-off agreement with Juhudi Kilimo. All you need is 3 months latest payslips, a copy of your national ID, one recent colored passport photo and your KRA PIN. For more information, call us today on 0709 692 000 or send an SMS to 20103 at no charge. Juhudi Kilimo, investing in farmers, transforming lives.
Infinity Industrial Park is one of the largest private industrial parks located along Eastern Bypass, Nairobi, which provides modern infrastructure for smooth operations for industries and business enterprises. Infinity Industrial Park offers world-class amenities and facilities with wide roads, a police station, a power substation, fire station, public transport stage, hospital, and shopping mall. In addition, Infinity Industrial Park also offers CCTV cameras, 24-hour private armed security patrol, sewer, water, fiber optic cable, and 3-phase power connection, added to public utility, canteen, and dining areas. Sail on the golden opportunity to invest in Infinity Industrial Park fully serviced warehouses at a special price of 3,569 Kenyan shillings per square foot. For more inquiries, visit our website infinityindustrialpark.com.
Are you looking for experts in waterproofing systems, concrete admixtures, flooring systems, refurbishment solutions, roofing, sealing and bonding, and building finishing systems? Look no more, as Simba Kiage got you covered. With over 113 years of experience, we offer our customers a comprehensive one-stop shop experience and the best technical support. Our products are available in all leading hardware stores and building merchants across the country. Call us today on 0711 140 232 or 0786 140 834 or email us on sales@ke.sika.com. Simba Kiage, building trust.
Are you an SME looking for a media partner? Look no more, as Lookuptv got you covered for all your visibility and marketing needs. We at Lookuptv understand your business needs and want to work with you on your marketing journey, giving you solutions that will take you to the next level. Call us today on 0707 572 358 or send an email to sales@lookuptv.co.ke and kickstart this amazing journey. Welcome to Lookuptv, your official SME media partner.
So the story we're telling today is a story of passion in practice that grows into business.
We have partnered with the Youth Fund, talk to as many youth as possible and work with them, hold their hand.
It is an expose of captains who have decided to take on challenges in different sectors and industries within the country.
My mentors had also not started as CEOs. They grew up and they showed me how they grew in the organizations. So that's what motivated me to actually do international business. And it was a good experience.
As an individual, support in bridging the care gap, part of me also to offer a solution. I want to leave this world a better place than I found it.
This is the Captain's Arena. My name is Simba Kiage.
As the night falls, we come to life to bring you a comprehensive broadcast, from the numerous events happening across our 47 counties.
When it breaks, it matters, and each story is important.
If it's Thursday, join me, Nancy Lima, and my able panelists as we break down the law jargons and analyze the Constitution in a way only you can understand.
The news cycle never stops, neither does time. We cover each and every sector and present to you factual and accurate occurrences. This is where facts win the day. Join me,
Nancy Lima,
Ian Keitani, Tuesday, every Wednesday,
Thursday,
as from 9 p.m. on The Insight, only on Lookuptv.
Hi, and welcome to Tujenge Home. Your #1 show when it comes to all things architecture, real estate, property development, interior design. You get it right here on Tujenge Home. When the food is ready.
You want to serve them?
Dinner is served. Yeah. Let's go.
Beautiful, wonderful, glorious. We are having the show that we share entitled Shepherd Voice.
I'm waiting for you to get me to Kenya. That's what I'm waiting
for you.
God is the source of every blessings that flow into your life.
And I know that God is going to bless you and to do a new thing.
Pray.
Kipindi ni ukulima ni mali na manjoro. Kumbuka hapa ndipo unajifunza mambo mengi kuhusu ukulima. Kilimo ni uti wa mgongo wa nchi. Na ukiwa na njoro unajifunza. Kumbuka, angalia mwenyewe. Tunakuambia ukitaka kujua tips za ukulima, ungana na sisi kwenye Lookuptv. Every Sunday unatukuta pale saa 10, tunakuonesha kuhusu ukulima. Ukulima wa mimea, ukulima wa ng'ombe, ukulima wa kuku, ukulima wa mbuzi na yote ambayo yanahusiana na ukulima. Kumbuka nini? Kipindi ni ukulima ni mali.
Karibu mtazamaji kwenye kipindi cha jamii na itikadi.
Kaini kitako tuna mengi.
Mapenzi yanapoanza watu huitana bebi na majina mengine matamu, lakini baadaye penzi linapogeuka na kuwa shubiri,
mtu anafikia kwenda kumtafuta mke mwingine.
Itakuwaje?
Yule wa kwake nyumbani labda hajamridhisha.
Ni sawa ama vipi Maliki?
Dadangu, wanaume ni kama maembe.
Huyu ni mwanamume atakuja abadiliki.
Mwanaume mwenye wanawake wengi hata katika uchumba, kwenye ndoa ataendelea. Mtu na tabia yake hawachi. Ile umbo la kike likishaanza, kila kitu kishaanza kuwa mahali pake.
Ningependa kukuona.
Sijaenda mahali ambapo mimi nilisikia mtu ati huyu alikuwa shujaa, alikufa katika mstari wa mbele wa ndoa. Sijawahi sikia mimi.
Praise the Lord and Bwana Yesu asifiwe sana. My name is Pastor Josiah. I'm from a ministry called Reconcilers World. God gives strength to the weary. I am, Jesus is speaking. He says, I am the door. Then he says, anyone who enters in through me will be saved. The Lord is my shepherd or shepherd. Then he says, I will always have everything I need. God desires to guide you. He's telling you that this day, don't just trust the Lord, but he's telling you, trust the Lord widely.
Are you an SME looking for a media partner? Look no more, as Lookuptv got you covered for all your visibility and marketing needs. We at Lookuptv understand your business needs and want to work with you on your marketing journey, giving you solutions that will take you to the next level. Call us today on 0707 572 358 or send an email to sales@lookuptv.co.ke and kickstart this amazing journey. Welcome to Lookuptv, your official SME media partner. Are you an SME looking for a media partner? Look no more, as Lookuptv got you covered for all your visibility and marketing needs. We at Lookuptv understand your business needs and want to work with you on your marketing journey, giving you solutions that will take you to the next level. Call us today on 0707 572 358 or send an email to sales@lookuptv.co.ke and kickstart this amazing journey. Welcome to Lookuptv, your official SME media partner.
Are you looking for experts in waterproofing systems, concrete admixtures, flooring systems, refurbishment solutions, roofing, sealing and bonding, and building finishing systems? Look no more, as Simba Kiage got you covered. With over 113 years of experience, we offer our customers a comprehensive one-stop shop experience and the best technical support. Our products are available in all leading hardware stores and building merchants across the country. Call us today on 0711 140 232 or 0786 140 834 or email us on sales@ke.sika.com. Simba Kiage, building trust.
All right, welcome back to the Morning Drift. My name is Simba Kiage. We are online at Lookuptv across all your social media platforms. Talk to us. I am at Kiage Simba on X. There's just a lot that we have to go through this morning in terms of the bigger conversations that we have to talk to. But then this morning I want us to start like this. Indeed, the conversations for 2027, it looks as if they've already started even before we get to 2027. Raila Amolo Odinga has been on the spot this week, sending praises to one Kalonzo Musyoka. The Daily Nation yesterday put it on the spot. They said that indeed Raila Amolo Odinga was essentially putting forth Kalonzo Musyoka as a presidential ticket that he would support essentially for 2027. But this morning, Raila Amolo Odinga is saying, I did not endorse Kalonzo Musyoka as the presidential flag bearer in our collusion in 2027. Let's take a look at that story. Once we come back, I'll be introducing the gentlemen that are joining us this morning for a conversation. And after that, we dig deep into the issues this morning.
The supposed endorsement of Kalonzo Musyoka as the next flag bearer for Azimio coalition in the 2027 election has generated significant interest and discussion in the political arena.
Juzi nilisikia kama RUTO alikuwa pande hii nasema tu unajua baba hata simama. Sasa mimi nitakuwa na Kalonzo tu.
During Oburu's 80th birthday, Azimio coalition leader Raila Odinga showered praises to Wiper party leader Kalonzo Musyoka, falling short of publicly announcing that Kalonzo will take the mantle in the 2027 general elections. Odinga described Kalonzo as a highly capable and trustworthy leader.
Si tutasimama kidete na ndugu Kalonzo Musyoka. Yeye ni mtu mwaminifu. Tumeelewana vizuri?
However, Azimio coalition has issued a statement contradicting the earlier remarks made by former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, asserting that the information should not be interpreted as the Azimio's position on 2027 political ambitions. The statement reads as follows. The Right Honorable Raila Odinga recognizes that 4 years before Kenyans go for another presidential elections is way too early for a political party to name its presidential candidate. Mr. Odinga therefore clarified that he is praised for His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka for standing with him in the 3 successive elections. The Wiper leader's strong Christian values, the support Mr. Musyoka has built across the country, was not an endorsement of Mr. Musyoka as the Azimio presidential candidate in 2027. Rather, the praise was acknowledgement and appreciation of the past deeds that are in public domain. Mr. Odinga views Azimio as a coalition of equals, in which every leader stands a fair and equal chance to emerge as the presidential candidate in 2027, depending on each leader's relationship with the party membership. The candidate will, however, not be named until a year or just months to the 2027 general elections. Mr. Odinga, however, believes that Mr. Musyoka has what it takes to beat Honorable William RUTO in a free and fair presidential contest, contrary to Mr. RUTO's recent claims that he will easily beat the Wiper leader. Mr. Odinga further assures Azimio supporters and the country that he plans to remain very active in party and national politics all the way to 2027. His words for praise for Mr. Musyoka were therefore not intended to mean he had or intends to quit active politics. The statement, upon being released, has raised concerns and sparked alarm among Kenyans about Azimio's political strategy for the upcoming 2027 general election. Njegi Timothy, Lookuptv.
All right. Now, that is the conversation then this morning that we're going to get into, plus other issues that we're going to look at throughout the entire of our broadcast this morning. This morning, then, let me introduce in the studio, Josephat Kamanya. How are you doing, sir?
Fine, thank you, Simba.
All right, online, we're also joined by Dr. Mwangi. How are you doing, sir? Happy to have you around. All right, Josephat, let me begin with you this morning. I mean, if you read that statement,
yes.
I mean, you start breaking word after word. It's very interesting. If you start from the bottom section, where they're saying that Raila Odinga believes that Kalonzo Musyoka has everything to beat Dr. William RUTO in a free and fair election. And thus they keep on saying that he intends to be in active politics up to 2027. And that his sentiments on Kalonzo Musyoka were not essentially intended to mean that he's fronting him as a presidential candidate for 2027, or he himself wants to quit from active politics. I mean, if you read that part alone, it can get into a flurry of interpretations. Guess who got it wrong yesterday? The Daily Nation. They went awash with a headline.
Yes.
Raila Odinga fronts Kalonzo Musyoka as a presidential candidate in 2027. Today in the morning, they come back with a different headline that says, I did not endorse Kalonzo's 2027 State House run. Raila now says. Sort of a reaction to that particular headline. Is this as close to a proposal for a Kalonzo presidency as it can get? Just what?
Well, first of all, a very good morning to our Morning Drift viewers. And a reminder to all the road users, share the road. Be responsible, you know, save a life, slow down and just be responsible. I think we are just about to delve into a protracted campaign for 2027. And everybody who is politically awoke in the nation is able to understand that realignments have already started to happen. And this is across board, because persons who are elected, they are already trying to strategize and realign themselves for re-election. Party leaders equally know the importance of significantly fronting potential candidates who will win all the elective positions. And also, it is upon the party leaders to start forming coalitions that will help them win the 2027 election. Thus, you have seen, as the Kenya Kwanza, we're saying we would want to have one big party. Remember, a few weeks ago, we were talking about that. And then now the Azimio comes up and says, okay, we don't want to collapse our coalition. We still want to have it as it were, with Kalonzo Musyoka being our brother. They say he's very faithful. And then on the ODM side, also they start saying, okay, the ODM party leader is seeming to be endorsing the Kalonzo Musyoka as a candidate for 2027, but it does not necessarily mean that we agree with that decision. Because when you see a retraction of that statement on what the Daily Nation had reported yesterday, and then they come up, you know, the Wamala Kijana and the rest come up and say, you know, issue a statement, it means there is a bit of lack of agreement, which I'm not surprised, because we have seen this happen, especially when it comes to Kalonzo and Raila Odinga. They have a very unique political relationship. Politics of betrayal have clearly been defined by the two. And also, sort of a longevity in terms of a relationship and backing one another is still defined by both of them.
Yes, yes.
So I choose not to read much into it right now. And I want to see how this plays out. But it'll be interesting to see where we will be in about a year's time.
Yes.
When real coalitions and party leadership will be fully defined.
Yes.
Yeah.
But when I look at the factors at play right here, as we wait for Dr. Mangi then to come online so we could also engage him, I mean, do you foresee a scenario where Kalonzo Musyoka is not on the presidential ticket in 2027 after all that is said and gone through with Raila Odinga?
Also, remember, this, if you look back a few months ago, less than 2 years, he was fronting himself as a presidential candidate before he fully and officially joined the Azimio side.
Yes.
For a long while, he was just sitting on the fence. And then he went to join Azimio side. We don't know what sort of agreements they had. Remember, there was a lot of back and forth then. And that did not come to see the light of the day because they did not take the government. Kalonzo has a few options now, either to run for presidency himself, because I think he has never seriously done that. He has always been at the periphery of either, you know, I'm fronting this person or I'm backing this person, or he withdraws his candidature. Remember, Kalonzo was also a vice president, so he knows how the presidency works, although he's in a different constitutional setup. So he is not somebody you can easily wish away. And Kenyans now are becoming very woke.
Yes.
I think the next general election will not be very party-centric. People will look at the individuals who will be seeking elective positions. So we cannot wish him away. It's too early for that. But he has options. He can either front himself and his party. Remember, he has a party, Wiper Party.
Does it?
Wiper Party has had a lot of representation in both houses, the National Assembly and the Senate.
Yes.
Equally at the county level.
Yes.
Or he can choose still to be in the back lane and support somebody else, which I don't see him doing that in the 2027, because that will be the real, remember the final bullet phrase, that will be the last lap for them. Both of them, Raila Odinga and Kalonzo Musyoka.
Pretty much. Just for coming to you, because we have to postulate this, that the only reason then why this looks like the opportune time for Kalonzo Musyoka to go for presidency is because there's a feeling within Raila Amolo Odinga's camp that right now will be the right time to find a replacement. Somebody who's going to take the mantle beyond 2027. And Kalonzo Musyoka is among those now who feel like if indeed Raila Amolo Odinga was going to say somebody Tosha, the way he said in 2002, then it's got to be Kalonzo. So now, if indeed Kalonzo would have a chance, then it's going to be this time around. Let me then talk to Dr. Mwangi. Dr. Mwangi, good morning, sir.
Good morning to you, my brother.
Happy to have you around. Let's pick that conversation. Just start with Josephat this morning, where the Daily Nation has given us two conflicting headlines in a matter of just hours. Well, yesterday, they ran the headline, Raila Amolo Odinga endorses Kalonzo Musyoka for presidency in a 2027. This morning, they're saying, good. Raila is saying, I did not endorse Kalonzo Musyoka for presidency in a 2027. But then, we've looked at it, that particular statement that was released this morning, and I was just talking to Josephat about it this morning, and this is what it reads, Dr. Mwangi, the last paragraph. It says that Raila Amolo Odinga, though, believes that Kalonzo Musyoka has got everything it takes to beat a RUTO presidential ticket in a free and fair election. They continue that, however, his sentiments on Kalonzo Musyoka is not essentially an indication of him pulling out of active politics in the running to 2027. Dr. Mwangi, what do you read in that last paragraph? Is it in black and white terms, Raila Amolo Odinga endorsing Kalonzo Musyoka for presidency?
It is in black and white. Yes. However, first of all, it is very unfortunate that we are having this conversation now about 2027 presidential election, when we are only 1 year into the Kenya Kwanza administration. But be it as it is, the Kenya Kwanza administration, instead of engaging in the politics of development, has already put the country into a political mood for 2027. And therefore, I would not, azimio has to react. And I think what Raila Odinga is saying, Kalonzo Musyoka has what it takes. He's basically saying, I am ready to support him. But he's also saying, I have not endorsed him, because if he endorses him now, then what happens? His base will begin to debate, is Kalonzo good, is he not good? I think he's saying, I am active in politics, and I think it is a smart move because he has to keep his base.
Yes.
For him endorsing Kalonzo, what will it mean? It will mean bringing to Kalonzo the vote block that he has kept all these years. 4 years into the 2027 contest is too early to be able to guarantee that vote, and therefore it would be even better for Kalonzo not to get the endorsement now, but to get it at the right time, and that right time has not come. If Raila Odinga says I've endorsed Kalonzo, then what is he going to do for the next 4 years? What will his base be doing? They will be vulnerable to the moves by any other political player, and therefore that endorsement will not mean much to Kalonzo. So it's the usual political guess. The fact that in the meeting, in the birthday party of his brother, Dr. Oburu Odinga, when he was also being confirmed as a true Christian, he said what he said. That is very significant, but I think politically, if that is the narrative that will be carried, it would weaken Raila's positioning. So but I think at the end of the day, I think we have read his lips where he's headed, and that is he's happy with Kalonzo.
That's it. Dr. Mwangi, let me give you this side of thinking as well. For any other person who's looking at this particular situation, there are those who are saying that endorse him early, start the campaigns as early as you can, start then picking your factions as early as you can, as opposed to waiting when it's a little bit too late for masses to make up their mind. And I'll give you this example. The political analysts look at this situation and say that the only reason Dr. RUTO is now the president is because his campaigns started way early, that it was never a secret that he wanted to be president. And so that preparation, that amassing of resources, whether it's capital or any other resources that you're talking about, need to start early as you can now. So endorse him if you want, Dr. Mwangi.
Now, remember, there is a very important conversation taking place,
yes,
by partisan talks, which have made very significant good progress.
Mm-hmm.
One of the way those talks have gone means that we are going to change the constitution. For us to open a position for leader of official opposition, for us to entrench the prime cabinet secretary, for us to review the matters of gender and so forth, we are headed to a constitutional moment. Now, in that conversation of the constitutional moment, Raila Odinga is very important, and therefore, if he's in a football match, if he's now not in the field playing, it means that he will be on the desk, on the bench. How does he play? And then, I agree. I mean, RUTO won the election. He campaigned throughout the last season, and it wasn't very good for our country. What kind of constitutional framework shall we have? Are we going to sustain a presidential system as it is, or are we going to make some readjustments to our constitution so that it serves us better for the future? Therefore, as much as the game has changed a little bit compared to 2017, where and if you recall, Dr. RUTO campaigned very hard against BBI, against anything that would change the constitution, so that he is the candidate for the president, and he won. Now that both sides of the divide have agreed that we want to change the constitution, because that is where we are headed, it would be suicidal,
yes,
for the country, for anyone, for the base of Raila at the moment. It will be suicidal politically for him, for now, to be seen as not a player, and therefore he must remain a player, so that he's part of the conversation to drive,
yes,
the constitutional framework of, yes, the country, and then at the right time he'll come back. So game is different. It's not we are not in 2017. Those who are saying yes, start now. We are not in 2017. We are in 2022, 2023, headed to 2027. We are in a framework where the country economically is headed downwards, and there is a lot of disquiet in the country. We don't know exactly where that disquiet will lead. We are in a situation where, as Kenyans, we are saying, let us adjust. Let's have official leader of opposition. Will they be sitting in parliament? Who will be the shadow cabinet? Where will it be? So it's a different ball game. And I think Raila is a smart politician. He's a strategist also. And I think Dr. RUTO also learned a little bit, quite a bit from him.
Yes.
So that's the way I read it. He supports Kalonzo, but it's too early to endorse.
Pretty much. Here's the thing that we have to look at just for them. And for any other person who's saying, well, the Raila Amolo Odinga as a camp sees nobody who's got mettle to go against the RUTO presidency in 2027. But then this is what they're saying, that right now, For those people been questioning Kalonzo Musyoka's credentials or his ambition for presidency, Kalonzo Musyoka is reading the talk within the Raila Amolo Odinga's camp that they feel that if there was a time that Raila was supposed to step out, it is now. And so when Kalonzo looks around and says, who can take over? He sees himself as a neutral candidate who can eat into that cake for the RUTO president in 2027. Just for, therefore, which begs me to ask you this question.
Yes.
When you look around, is it now the right time for Kalonzo Musyoka to stand forth and say, it's going to be me this time around? And do you feel that Raila Amolo Odinga then has to step out of the presidential ambitions in 2027?
Well, clearly it's too early to talk about presidential campaign.
Yes.
Because as Dr. Mwangi says, we're barely into the second year of the Kenya Kwanza administration.
Yes.
And thus, beginning any campaign right now is going just to protract the political environment, which you're trying to bring down for economic development. Because if from the bipartisan conversation, and remember we were talking about this last time, that the first agenda should have been to agree on the IBC reconstitution, which I think a day after we spoke about it, it happened. That is now the crux of the matter. Because remember, and you have to remember this, the bipartisan talks are based on electoral justice or injustice. Then if we plunge ourselves into a constitutional moment, then it means we have to create to restructure the leadership of the government, of the country. But again, who will want to change that? A sitting president, an incoming president? Because Dr. Mwangi is right to say, we stopped BBI because we do not want to change the framework of the presidential system that we have right now. So if we go into a constitutional moment, anybody who will be endorsed right now, be it Kalonzo or any other person from any political fraternity, it's catastrophic for them. It is too early because you become a target already. However, as a person, and all these are party leaders, Kalonzo, Raila Odinga and the rest, they need to start coming out and do grassroots mobilization for solidifying their own political base. What I like about our past election is that it did kill, actually, tribal politics. And now we're beginning to look at the functions of a party. So there's a bit of a party grounding.
Yes.
There are people who are diehards of specific parties for whatever reason. And then we're also trying to see, we've begun to see a coalition on ideologies. We may not fully agree that they're clearly defined, but you can see Raila and Kalonzo have stuck together and have been pushing. Do you know Raila is the one who started pushing for the devolution? It used to be called Majimbo system, and then it was captured in the constitution. So all these ideologies that are bringing people together, I'm happy to see the development of that. But who is going to be the flag bearer for the presidency? I think it's too early to get into that conversation. If Kalonzo gets that endorsement now, and there's a fallout within the ODM fraternity, what becomes of him? If he falls out with the ODM leaders from the ODM strongholds, how will he penetrate those regions to garner support for his election? So it's too early to get into that conversation. I think let's give it time. Let's allow them to converse, and then they will come out clearly and show us who clearly is going to be their front runner. Because again, to say that they can beat the sitting president flat and square, free and fair, is also again too early to talk about that. The difference between the 2027 and this 2022 campaign is that 2022, we had an outgoing president. Uhuru, the former president, was not seeking a re-election. I mean, if all factors are held constant, President Ruto will be seeking a re-election in 2027. Thus, the political fiber is a bit different. That's why the deputy president then, who is the president now, had to start his campaign, because that was succession politics. In 2027, we'll be seeking continuity. There is a bit of dynamics that need to be fine-tuned. And right now is not really the time to start talking about presidential candidature. Let's focus on, like we have demolitions happening in the background of Kalonzo.
And we're gonna get into that shortly. Let me just take the final sentiments of Dr. Mwangi on this issue. Dr. Mwangi, let's focus on the last part of that release from the ODM party yesterday, that indeed they believe that Kalonzo Musyoka has got the mettle, or what it takes then, to beat a RUTO presidency in a 2027 in a free and fair election environment. do you also believe that the Kalonzo presidency will be a threat to the RUTO presidency? Dr. RUTO was in Luo Nyanza just a couple of days ago, and he said that if it's between him and RUTO and Kalonzo, as it looks now, then he's sure he's going to retain it.
Well, okay, if we can talk about that,
yes.
You know, the political landscape is unfolding. You know, you have Dr. RUTO, who is currently 1 year into his presidency, and he has to prove himself. He has to answer. He has to fulfill the promises that he made. For example, the bloc that gave him the presidency being the Mount Kenya region.
Yes.
Right now, if you go to the ground in Mount Kenya region, there is quite a lot of murmuring because economically, I mean, that same paper that you are reading, if you read yesterday's paper, the same newspaper, The Nation you are reading,
yes,
and you come back from the back page, after the obituary, you count how many pages that have been bought by auctioneers who are auctioning people's property, you know, and if you think about it, so the vote that gave Dr. RUTO the win is still waiting at the moment to see, you know, the promises fulfilled. So, in the event that the promises are not fulfilled, and so far they are not on the ground, then obviously people will be looking for an alternative. And what better alternative if that time comes and Raila Odinga, who has kept his base very strong, if he keeps it strong, even if he loses even 20% or 30%, and he brings it to Kalonzo, and, you know, Kalonzo also has proved he was able to hold the Kaba vote reasonably together under him in the last election. If he keeps that, obviously the swing vote will be Mount Kenya. And don't forget that when you talk about Gema, Gikuyu, Ebu, Meru, what does A mean? It's not association, it means Akaba.
That's it. That's it.
So in that context, then yes. And given if Dr. RUTO fulfills the promises he made to the hustlers,
yes,
then there will be a real contest.
That's
but
it.
If the situation goes as it is, then you'll find quite a bit of, a huge movement to an alternative. And Kalonzo, you know, he has stood with Raila against the wishes of his people in his region, and therefore I think, in a way, if Raila Odinga did not endorse Kalonzo when the right time comes, then he would also not be a fair player, as it were. So I think we are in for interesting times, but I would rather we are having a conversation about how do we fix our economy? How do the hustlers' livelihood change?
Yes.
Now, when they say you can have to go and pay in Huduma, and the businesses are down,
yes,
and the harassment of the KRA paramilitary people going to the small people, all these things are unfolding, and I think they will inform the decisions that Kenyans will take.
Pretty much. Gentlemen, then I beg we move into that particular conversation there that Dr. Mwangi is introduced this morning. And this is exactly what it is then, because one man, the CS, Public Service, is already taken over office. And there are two issues that we're going to look around exactly what his tenure is going to be like. Now, the State Department of Public Service Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria, Monday, while assuming office, revealed that Kenyans seeking services from Huduma centers will soon be forced to part with some cash to be accorded assistance. Kuria has also stated that the ministry plans to empower key government institutions, among them KSG and NYS, to help in a service delivery. This time now that we're talking this morning, NYS is also back to the headlines because key suspects in that 793 million shilling saga by there, that's almost $1 billion shillings, have been set scot-free. Let's take a look at that story. Once we come back, then there are issues that we're going to talk about this particular area, 2 of them, and the seeming tiff between Musalia Mudavadi and Moses Kuria.
Public Service Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria, while assuming office of the State Department of Public Service from outgoing CS Ayushua Jumwa at Harambee House, has hinted at the introduction of charges for services offered around Huduma centers across the country, as well as providing private sector services at a fee while venturing into e-commerce to boost revenue generation.
We are also going to use our Huduma centers and interest the private sector to trust us in service delivery, even in services which have got nothing to do with the government. Because clearly, if this is one area where the public sector is doing much better than even the private sector, and so why not offer our services even for the private sector?
CS Kuria has also revealed that his ministry is poised to partner with key government functions, such as the National Youth Service NYS, which is said will bolster the agricultural sector, revive the manufacturing sector in the country, inculcate the culture of patriotism by serving as a tool of hope and discipline to Kenyan youth, including the Kenya School of Government, KSG, which is set to widen Kenyan influence as a government training hub, poised to start training the rest of African states on matters governance.
We will be able to make the National Youth Service a major contributor in driving this country forward. You can also expect some major transformation in the Kenya School of Government to assist the country in areas which we don't understand, which are not historically part of our forte, areas like climate change, areas like green finance, and I've had a discussion with Dr. Rudeki Chewa, who is a Director General there.
Kuria, fresh from the Ministry of Trade and Industrialization, has called on all public servants to be productive, signaling countrywide invigilation on all projects as government grapples with time in actualizing goals and service delivery to its citizens.
For public servants to make a decision, a rational decision, a deliberate decision, whether they want to continue to be paying to this country or they want to be part of adding value to these people who contribute to the taxes with which they are paid.
Stanley Lugaria, Lookuptv.
Now you hear, Josephat, that indeed we have to start paying for Huduma services now. Let's begin from that. I mean, when you look at Huduma service, number one, the service that you're going to get, you'll be asked to pay. I mean, if I'm going there for my ID, if I'm going there for my certificate, whatever it is, if I'm going there for any other service, I gotta pay for that service. But now, to book now for that service, Moses Kuria is saying, well, you gotta pay for it. Is it? First, let me begin from that. Is it too early for a man who's just assumed the office this week to start telling us exactly how he's going to run up that office?
I think it's too early to start interpreting his statement.
As it?
Because it hasn't come out clearly
yes.
which services will be charged and how much.
But just for as it is.
As it
is, why do you need to charge a Huduma service?
You see, he has said they're going to incorporate other services at the Huduma centers to even interest the private sectors. Sometimes I feel we are too quick to jump at the whims of a conversation that is ongoing and antagonize the person that is coming out with such suggestions. Let's give Moses Kuria time to settle. He has given a clear indication. Actually, I think Kenyans should appreciate the last statement where he says public servants need to make a deliberate choice.
Yes.
Because I think we have a looming problem away from the cost that could be introduced, and we don't know on what. So it will just be mere speculation and start talking this service will be charged on that and the other. But I think the problem that we currently are having, and everybody can agree, is that some of the public servants in some sectors, their attitude is purely unprofessional.
Yes.
If he can streamline that, he will have done this country a great service. So that if you go to any public hospital, you should be attended as a patient. If you go to any public office, to you to get either your birth certificate, because actually those are some of the areas where you hear a lot of complaints. People are rude, the attitude is just very unprofessional. There are even some insults you'll hear. There are cases that have been reported and people are just scared to come out, and some people are just patient. Let me get my certificate and I go. I won't be here for the next 1 year or 2. But we need to reorganize our public service delivery. And we have successfully done that with the police service. The police service, they were not even called service before.
Yeah.
They did not have a very good reputation with the Kenyans. But let Moses Kuria come in strong and very firm and change the attitude of the public service towards Kenyans.
Yes.
We are the bosses, we are the ones who pay them, and we deserve service.
That's what I'm saying. So the question I'm asking this morning is that if you've just been moved from the Ministry of Trade and Industry into the Ministry of Public Service,
yes,
and you're here making statements about your plans that are not clear. I mean, we didn't ask him to tell us exactly what we were supposed to do upon assuming that particular office, no. Because now we're sitting here trying to interpret what he exactly meant. That is his foul, if essentially they want to talk about it.
I see no fault.
Yes.
He just fronted a suggestion.
As that?
Perhaps you might even appreciate a proper description when it is laid out, when we know which service you'll be paying for, if at all, and how much. Mm-hmm. Remember, everything we do, we pay for. Even when you go to NTSA, yes, to get your driving license,
that's you pay for.
There is that processing fee,
that's it,
about 50 to 100 bob.
Which is part,
which also happens at the Huduma Center.
Which is payment. You pay for that service.
So let's give Moses Kuria time. Let him come. Actually, we should be asking him, what do you mean?
What do you mean
what
when you say
pay for?
That's it, isn't it? Now, just for it's a very good point that you're starting from there.
Yes.
Let me remind you of the sentiments of the former CS, Public Service. If you do remember.
Yeah.
Guess what she said upon assuming office as the CS, Public Service, that she was going to look for money to make sure that public employees are given a salary increment. Could you say that this is in somewhat similar to the sentiments here that Moses Kuria is making this morning, where you have a very fresh face in office and you're making statements that are neither here nor there?
Every government agency seeks to increase revenue collection. One of the ways we have managed to do that as a government, as a country, is to automate, digitize our services. Remember, there used to be a lot of bleeding on revenue collection.
Does it?
So, and he said that much, actually, in his statement. I don't know why we are overlooking.
Yes.
He spoke about revenue collection.
And we've had it before, Joseph. That's why we're not talking about it. So what is essentially news from there is that, what is this new thing? The new thing now is that, hey, you got to pay for services.
Let's wait and see which service will we be paying for. Because
but we're already paying for these services.
We do.
Yes.
Once it is defined, I will tell you, I don't think this is fair, or I agree with this.
Yes.
But right now, we are merely speculating.
That's it. It's a speculation that has been started by CS,
Yeah.
who's just come in our office. Majority of people say Popo is excited. Well, out of the statements, people want to hear specific statements that are geared towards public delivery.
Kenyans do know Moses Kuria for who he is and how he operates.
Yes.
We saw him in the former ministry he was in. He went around the country launching projects. I think he's one of the persons who came out aggressively, and he understands his mission.
Yes.
So let's see. I like the excitement. I like the enthusiasm he's showing. I like the energy he's bringing. I just want to see the change. Any change that is going to improve service delivery to Kenyans at a cost, slightly higher, slightly lower, or no cost, I totally embrace. I'm conflicted
when we say that at a cost. What we do understand very well that every service that the government gives Kenyans is paid for. It is paid for. To the point that when we're talking about these collaborations, it wants to go to the private sector. I mean, we do know very well that the government also serves private sector. So this collaborations is talking about, in what form are they going to come that they're not?
That's what I'm saying. I cannot hold brief for him. So let's just wait and see precisely what does he mean, and then we will interrogate that. I'm not saying he's fully right in saying that, but I can also say that he is wrong. So I'll not hold brief for him. Let's wait. Let it come out, and then everybody, you, myself, Mr. Mwangi, and everybody else will be contribute and say, this is not proper.
Which is what I really want to get this finally from you then. I mean, it is something that we saw in the former CS in that particular docket.
Yes.
Making quick proclamations about exactly what plans they had for the public service sector. Is it a bit too early? Would you like to tell him, Moses Kuria, man, I mean, just go into our office, know exactly what you need to deliver before you come out and make a huge presser like this one?
No, I would allow him to be visionary. I would allow him to be innovative. I allow him to be creative.
Yeah.
If he has found means and ways that he can improve, again, and I repeat this, service delivery to Kenyans, let him come out and share that with us. Then we will see whether it's okay or not.
Pretty much. I'll be coming back to, because it's mentioned the Kenya School of Government and the NYS as well.
Yes.
Let's cross over to Dr. Mwangi this morning. Dr. Mwangi, same question that I want to put to you. I mean, see, that's what I want to get from Josephat. Josephat is saying, well, I do not hold brief for Moses Kuria. He can say whatever it is that he wants. But Dr. Mwangi, I mean, it is just on the day that you're assuming office, and you've made a big announcement. Hey, we can even offer those services at a fee. But every other Kenyan knows very well that any other service that you get from Huduma Center in this country, you pay for. There's no service at Huduma Center that is essentially free. And even those services, the bouquet of services that you're getting from Huduma Center, are also service fee factored. There's no, it's not like we get it for free. Is it too early for Moses Kuria to make these declarations as he's making about the plans that he has for the public service sector?
Now, Moses Kuria, who is, remember Moses Mwangi?
Yes.
Now, Moses Kuria.
Yes.
Why are we talking about him this morning? We are talking about him this morning because he made a statement that goes against the grain. Moses Kuria is a political operator. We know him, don't you?
Does it?
He won't get into the headlines. And here he is. We are talking about him. Remember when the government increased taxes on fuel, what did Moses Kuria say? He came out and said, oh, you dig your own well. Dig your own well. Isn't that what he said? Moses Kuria is, I don't know whether he's saying this to bring disruption, which is his method of remaining relevant, being in the conversation. He usually will bring something that is strange, that makes us focus on him. Really, if you reflect on the political journey of Moses Kuria, that's how he has got to where he is. He plays politics all the time. But now, Huduma Center was started during Mwai Kibaki's time. Who does it address? The majority of people who need that service are the so-called hustlers. They are the people who have left school, who need an ID, they have no money. Some of them come from very poor background. They are young people who want to do business with government. Remember, the affirmative action for women. You need to start up a business. You need to register a business. Huduma Center comes and is a one-stop shop. The people that really benefit from the Huduma Center are the people at the bottom. But your work as a CS in that when I want a passport, when you want whatever, is I think he's telling us they are going to increase the cost.
Yes.
That maybe was giving us advance warning that they are going to increase. The Kenya Kwanza government, where we have seen this go up, without batting an eyelid, and so he's probably preparing us for more levies, which is very consistent with the ideology of the current government, which is really just going to make things much more difficult. I want to agree with my brother. What we should be hearing is how the services can improve. We were very happy with Professor Kindiki, when there was problem with passport in Nyayo House. He walks there, he comes there, he sorts out the problem, and Kenyans begin to get passports which were stuck. That is a person who has interest in serving and delivering service. I think, with all due respect to my namesake Moses, I think just to say statements so that you make the headlines,
yes,
so that we talk about you at a time when Kenyans wamefinyiliwa sana. At that time, do you really do you feel good when people feel pain? Because this is inflicting more pain on people who are already feeling pain. So I think Moses is a political player.
Yes.
He wanted us to talk about you, and here we are, my brother. We are talking about you.
Pretty much. Guess what? If you hear that, Dr. Mwangi said, whoa, is a political player, and he wanted to be in the headlines. And this morning, essentially, we are talking about one Moses Kuria. Guess what? It doesn't stop there. Once we come back from this break, then, just what I'll be asking you, whether indeed it would make sense if the announcement that it would have made is essentially maybe in the spirit of the cost of living, in the spirit of making the services more accessible and seamless at the Dodoma Service Center story, that it would have reduced the cost of the service as opposed to telling Kenyans, you know what, pay more for them, just like Dr. Mwangi is interpreting. And once we come back, then this gentleman are going to help us understand whether indeed there's a tiff between one Moses Kuria and Mudavadi over what? Tenancy. Once we come back.
Introducing the Kenya Trade Fair Fusion Sales Drive event in the heart of Nairobi at the Kenya National Archives. It's not just an event, it's sales generation with a remarkable return on investment. Get ready to let your booth do the talking as you study new market trends with lots of entertainment featuring traditional live bands, DJs and artists. For vendor registration, call 0724-715-334 or 0713-907-584 or 0723-861-173.
Once again, tuko hapa Angel Center for Abandoned Kids, all because of you.
My name is Catherine Wanjiru. I am the admin, Angel Center for Abandoned Children. Our founder is Wamaitha Mwangi. We currently have 64 children, 32 going to school, and among those 32, 2 are special children, and we are left at the home with 32. Now the toddlers and the infants. To the RUTO Foundation, thank you so much for remembering us. Guy, we lack words. We lack words. Amazing. We don't know what to say. Thank you for remembering us. You made a promise and you have delivered. And may God bless you. To my fellow Kenyans, as usual, cheza loto, sio ndoto. Angel Center tumeshinda loto.
Every time you play Lotto, 25% goes to the RUTO Foundation, which supports our fellow Kenyans through various causes. Thank you for your help. Together, we are changing lives.
Are you looking for experts in waterproofing systems, concrete admixtures, flooring systems, refurbishment solutions, roofing, sealing and bonding, and building finishing systems? Look no more, as Simba Kiage got you covered. With over 113 years of experience, we offer our customers a comprehensive one-stop shop experience and the best technical support. Our products are available in all leading hardware stores and building merchants across the country. Call us today on 0711 140 232 or 0786 140 834 or email us on sales@ke.sika.com. Sika Kenya, building trust. Enjoy a getaway this Mashujaa weekend from as low as 14,000 shillings. Pamper yourself and your loved ones with 10% discount on spa facilities, live kids animators and activities, karaoke Friday and live DJ entertainment. For reservations and inquiries, call 0709 070 000.
Are you a civil servant and looking for financial breakthrough? You can now apply for the salary check-off loan from Juhudi Kilimo, a solution that is available for salaried employees that have a check-off agreement with Juhudi Kilimo. All you need is 3 months latest payslips, a copy of your national ID, 1 recent colored passport photo and your KRA PIN. For more information, call us today on 0709 692 000 or send an SMS to 20103 at no charge. Juhudi Kilimo, investing in farmers, transforming lives.
All right, in case you're just joining us, this is the Morning Drift. My name is Simba Kiage. Then we're looking at the last issue that we have on the table this morning, moving away from the issues of Moses Kuria, now into the issue that we have on the table this morning, which is essentially the demolitions that we've seen go down in Athi River, East African Portland Cement PLC is the one that has been enshrined in this battle. Now, these demolitions have gone on for the past 4 days. In fact, today, they entered their 5th day. Now, this morning, and Josephat, if you may allow me, I'm going to read for you a release that has come from East African Portland Cement PLC. They're saying, notice to the general public that East African Portland Cement wishes to notify members of the public of its offer to sell the above referenced parcels of land via a regularization model. First and preferential priority shall be offered to the parties currently occupying sections of the said parcels. Those in this kind of situation are advised to state their claim of the same within 14 days from the date of this notice, which is essentially today. At the expiry of this notice, all unclaimed portions shall be comprehensively offered to the general public on a willing buyer, willing seller basis. A site has been put up and an office for this purpose is also available within EAPC PLC premises along Namanga Road. They've spoken.
They have spoken, finally. It's a relief, but it comes in a bit too late to some of the victims. Because remember, we have seen households being brought down. As you say, rightly say, 4th day into it today. So I hope they have seized demolition as they issue this notice and just now address the matter amicably. Because again, it do not make sense for them to issue the notice and demolitions are still ongoing. This is what should have happened in the first instance. Because remember, the president said there should be no demolitions happening. So to see this happen is quite an thing, and it's very unfair to any person, whether they were conned or they bought the land knowing that it was not rightfully belonging to the persons who are purporting to be selling. Whatever the circumstances of buying and building may have been, bringing down a house does not make a difference.
Yes.
But it hurts the owner of the house. Some of the persons we have been speaking emotionally so, they were saying this was my retirement package. This was my retirement plan. this is all I worked for all my life, and now I've settled, and then you take down my house. Where am I going to move to?
Yes.
So it's pretty much unfair, because I don't think waiting 1 week, even though Portland had won the case, or even 3 months, by issuing those persons specific notice on eviction or moving, I don't think that would have costed Portland anything.
Yes.
So we need to be very careful how we handle these issues. And I remember a while back the government did say that even though you may have squatters in your own land, now let alone people who have been sold that land illegally, squatters who have encroached, do not kick them at night. Do not kick them out of the land at night. Have a plan when they're going to move, give them notice. Then if you do need enforcement of the police, use that, but let people move out of the lands where they're not supposed to be residing.
Yes.
So I like that they're offering these, they're extending this olive branch, but it's a bit too late. So what happens to a person who still goes and buys the same land? Are they going to compensate them for the house?
That's it.
You know?
That's something that we're looking at this morning, isn't it?
Yeah.
And just but just before I cross over to Dr. Mwangi to also weigh in on this particular issue, then I would like us to go back to that particular story that we did on this demolitions. That was the state as of yesterday, where essentially majority of leaders have been speaking about it, and one who's been on the forefront about speaking about it is Wavinya Ndeti. All right, let's take a look at that story. Once we come back, I'll be crossing over to Dr. Mwangi to also weigh in on this particular one.
Down palatial homes, others are racing against time to salvage a few household items and roofs. Homeowners narrate painful tales of how they acquired the disputed land, which the court ruled last week belongs to Portland Cement.
Shamba ya Portland. Na kama kwa kweli serikali inasema inataka kuuza, mimi kama mbunge wa Mavoko tumefanya vikao mbalimbali na Portland na wakakubali watauzia wananchi wakaji wa Machakos County hiyo ama hilo shamba.
Some were duped by land selling companies and possessed title deeds they believed are genuine. Some possess share certificates. Interestingly, some claim to have secured bank loans using the said documents to develop the plots they acquired. They cry foul that while there is a ruling on ownership of the land, the court did not order demolitions, which they say have been carried out without any notice.
We have woken up to very shocking news of our people being demolished for their properties in their ancestral land and being kicked out. This government has always purported internationally to be a government that is caring. But what we have seen has shocked all of us, because we have realized that they absolutely have no humanitarian assistance to our people.
What is more disheartening is that some owners pay the relevant fees for building approvals from the county government and the National Construction Authority. The once lucrative shopping center, which reported booming business from the large population, has been reduced to rubble. Churches and schools have not been spared, to the chagrin of helpless residents.
Ni nini ngumu kusettle watu wa Machakos hapa? What is so difficult in settling the people of Machakos? I am very disappointed and I'm very annoyed. Na ni vizuri tumejua sisi kama viongozi wa Ukambani mali tumewekwa. And I want to say, without mincing my word as the governor of Machakos, mimi sitakubalia hata inchi moja ya shamba yetu iende. I will not accept.
On the other hand, police officers overseeing the demolitions have been reduced to cat and mouse running battles with criminals stealing scrap metals and salvaged items. Despite the plea of locals and Ukambani leaders for the government to stop the demolitions, the massive destruction of property is ongoing on the earmarked 4,268 acres of land. Bridget Agola, Lookuptv.
Now, two ways to look at it as well. That this particular company or state agency was earmarked for privatization. It was among those who were earmarked for privatization. Now, you also have to know that there's a developing headline that has come up around this particular story, because the state has found a buyer for the 15 billion shilling stake of the Kenyan government in East African Portland Cement Limited, which changes the conversation completely which makes us ask these questions, because I will take you back to what the Standard essentially stated this morning. And there it is, Dr. Mwangi. I'm going to read for you exactly what the two gentlemen have spoken about this particular demolitions and evictions. This is Dr. President William RUTO. And this is what he said. We want to make sure that we are an orderly humane society, that respects the rights of everybody, regardless of who and of who they are, and the financial status. We are equal in the eyes of the Constitution. All right. DP Brigadier Gachagua says that the RUTO administration will have zero tolerance to inhumane eviction like it happened before. That will not happen in his term as president. Those are two very distinct quotes that negate what is going on at the River property, as we do know now. Dr. Mwangi, if you can hear me, what do you read into these demolitions in our property?
Now, very unfortunate, really, very unfortunate. The rules of natural justice, in the administration of justice, justice should not only be done, but justice should be seen to be done.
Yes.
Now, and then justice delayed is justice denied. When you look at these good people who are Kenyans, who, for whatever reason or whichever process, because when you listen in this country, you buy a property and you even have a title, never mind how the title, whoever got the title in the land's office, and then down the road, of course, the judges to rule who was the original owner. But I think as we go into the administration of justice, I think we should go beyond just saying this property belongs to so-and-so.
Yes.
I think it is important, especially for public property.
Yes.
Because Portland, East African Portland Cement, is a public entity. It occupies thousands of public land. Yes, public land must be protected, but innocent people who find themselves not out of their own fault, they did due diligence.
Yes.
And acquired the property, but along the way, then it becomes that the property was wrongfully sold to them. I think what we see is really unfortunate. What the president said, that there would be humane, now tell me, is bringing down somebody's house with all that is there. Is that humane? That's the question.
Dr. Mwangi, if you can allow me indulge you as well in this statement that has come from East African Portland Cement PLC, that it is seeking to sell 907 acres of land in Mavoko through a regularization model. And I will tell you that, I want to read that particular statement, that first and preferential priority shall be offered to the parties currently occupying sections of the said parcels. But Dr. Mwangi, this is coming today in the morning, and if you did listen to that member of parliament, I just can't seem to put a finger on his name. He said that they had conversations with that particular company who said they were going to sell that property to the guys who are occupying it. Why do we have this statement coming from the company at this time when it has been 4 days of demolitions in that property?
Well, first of all, let us appreciate that the company has come out now and given relief, given a statement that gives some relief. Do you know, my friend, that some of those property owners there whose houses were demolished, They may be suffering from mental illness as we speak. Do you know the psychological torture that they have gone through?
Yes.
So in a way, it is coming, shall we say, a bit late, but at least it breathes some freshness into this. And I pray and hope that the management of the company, of whoever it is, that they will be fair and just to these plot owners. They give them first priority and they don't take advantage of them, because if I have a house, because the other thing is that they, if the property is offered for an arm and a leg that they may not afford and they had already paid for it, I hope they'll be just and fair and give them a way to pay, considering they had already paid for it, to whoever they had paid for it. But it's good news. However, I say, I think the company and the administration that sanctions the demolition, it just shows that we have a problem. The right is not talking to the left. So there is injustice. It should never have been done. The president didn't want it done. The deputy president said it will not happen, but it happened. So what happened? That it happened when the top office of the land says it should not be like this. Now, after people have suffered, but on the other hand, I think it is a better day than yesterday, and I think we should appreciate that and urge the company management and the authorities to remember that these people have suffered and allow them not to go down the drain more than they have gone, because they are in mental anguish. They don't even know what to do. But I think it should be a lesson, and I pray that the president, because in the last regime, they were at the forefront condemning demolitions that were happening. I remember in Kariobangi, in other places, and I think Kenyans are Kenyans. If you even if you have done wrong, even when they take you to prison, it should be to rehabilitate you. It's not to crush you. The justice system is about making things better. So the judiciary should also look at. It is true, if you are the property owner, the rule should come to you. However, is it possible to advance the administration of our justice to also look at how such a matter of public interest is prosecuted and executed in a way that it causes less pain?
That's pretty much. Just what, let's look into why this issue is contentious. And we are asking this morning probably what we haven't even seen statements coming from the deputy president or the president himself about what we've seen in that Athi property for the past 4 days. And this is what the critics have been saying. That indeed, they can't do that because now they want to move out of that particular company. So anything that stops the fluid transition of government ownership to private ownership essentially is not welcome. So no wonder now then that even with the courts not ordering demolitions of that particular property, without existence of court documents showing that indeed there were orders then to continue to demolish, everybody kept quiet. Because now, if you look at that statement that has been released by the company this morning, it shows that indeed the demolitions in one way or another were not ordered for by any other law agents in the country.
I can bet you, Simba, if the demolitions and the eviction were not ordered by the court, somebody will be held accountable. Because
is it going to be easy now?
It won't be easy, but somebody will be held accountable.
Yes.
Because for you to evict somebody, especially forcefully, you must serve them a notice. I have not seen any single individual whose house was demolished come out and say, I was served this notice, it was either too soon or I could not move in time. None of that happened. I think the decision was passed a few days, and then immediately the demolition happened. That is unfair, that is inhuman by any standard. It's not even, we cannot even defend that move. It doesn't matter who resides there. They are all Kenyans. Either they bought. The point is they have been living and residing on that land. There is even an issue of what we call advance possession. If you've lived on a specific piece of land for such a time, as clearly defined by the Constitution, somebody cannot come and evict you, much as that may be determined by the court to be their own property. There has to be negotiation and agreement. Okay, you've been here encroaching illegally, so you need to move, or I'm going to give you a certain piece of land for you to settle. So there were options. That is what I am saying. Mm-hmm. And I think the president, the deputy president pronounced themselves on the evictions even during the campaigns, let alone now when they are in office.
Yes.
So somebody will be held accountable. The deputy county commissioner of that area is a person who needs to explain what precisely transpired.
Does it?
Because he's the one, of course. There is somebody who allowed the police to accompany the tractors and demolish them. Because you've seen the heavy presence of the police.
Does it?
The DCC needs to tell the Kenyans and the persons who are living in that region what actually transpired. So that if it is not him, then who? Because we cannot let this continue happen. It is quite unfair. It is inhuman. Yes. And I say it does not matter. The political divide we are in.
Yes. Here's the question that we are asking this morning.
Yes.
If indeed that particular company is going to be privatized, and the entire privatization process, we might not even know whether it's complete or not. We might be sitting here when in reality this might be a private the developer saying, well, I bought the government stake in this property, so I need that cleared up so that I can do my business. Is that why the president and the deputy president are not speaking on this? They're quite silent on this particular issue.
You see, regardless of the privatization process, still the government has the upper hand. There is what we call compulsory requisition of land. The government can come to your property where you live for as many years as you have been living there and tell you, we need this land for this particular purpose. So you need to move. They either give you an option to settle elsewhere, or they can pay you to move. But if you need to move, you need to move. So if the company has bought the entire property and ownership of Portland, the government still has the upper hand to negotiate on behalf of Kenyans and say, this 1,000 acres, we are seizing it to the community, because as you can see, people have already settled there. Then we could talk about the environmental impact if people continue to settle there, and those other subsequent topics that would come from settling people near a cement-producing company. Because also there is a public health question you need to answer. But first, we need to talk about ownership. So the government still, the buck stops with the government. And the government agency who is at the bottom level in that area is the one who needs to explain to Kenyans and tell them this is why and how it happened, so that somebody is held accountable.
Pretty much. Dr. Mangi, we have 2 minutes on left for our show this morning. I want you to give us the final sentiments then. It is, you know, when you look at this statement from even DP regarding Gachagua, by the way, who's in the country, you might even say that the president and Musalia Mudavadi are not in the country, so they don't have time to make that statement just for it, but the DP is here. I want to read you that statement again. Dr. Mwangi said that RUTO administration will have zero tolerance to inhumane eviction like it happened before. That will not happen in his term as president. One governor who's really enraged about this particular evictions is Wavinya Ndeti, and she's been tough talking. In fact, she addressed the president and told him off on this particular evictions. Dr. Mwangi, that the only reason the DP and the president have not spoken about this particular issue is because they find themselves in the center of it, that they want to cede government ownership in EA. So the only thing is to keep quiet, let proceedings go on as they are currently happening. 1 minute, Dr. Mwangi, and then we step out.
Now, the company has come out. What has informed their statement?
Yes.
That's a question. The DP, what he has said does not contradict what the president said, and if we take them at their word, therefore they do not want to see this kind of thing. So why did it happen? where there is the Inspector General of Police, an independent organ for demolitions of that nature to take place. The police is involved. The police are working for which government? The police are working for who? Because they supervised this. So are we then seeing a government where the right does not know what the left is doing until the left has done, and then the right come in and say, no, you should not have done? That is not, does not portray a government that is working in harmony. And I would say, whoever was responsible for this, I mean, the Kenyans, you would want to know who is this who contradicted the philosophy and the communication of the government and went ahead to carry out inhumane way of evicting people. Now it is corrected, yes, but it has left us wondering, is this government working together? Are they eating from the same tree? Maybe if we see somebody being punished, whether it is the Inspector of Police or whoever sanctioned this, then maybe we will say the government means what it says, and it says what it means. At the moment, what has happened, I'm not sure.
Does it? Pretty much. I mean, sentiments have spoken about it, but we need to see exactly what developments then are going to come up from that particular issue, with a lot of leaders from that region going heavy on it. Wavinya Ndeti among those who've been quite sentimental and emotional on the ongoing demolitions in that particular area. Guess what? We'll keep our tabs on this story, and we shall be reporting it as of when and how we have it. Dr. Mwangi, thank you very much for making your time this morning, sir.
Thank you, and have a good day, brother.
All right, just what? Always a pleasure to speak to you, sir.
Always, and we call upon all the public servants. Please serve, perform, and deliver with dignity.
Perform, deliver with dignity. No more words. Just what? Just what we take a tiny breathe out. Once we come back, then I'll be taking you next to another conversation this morning, where we want to teach you exactly how to track your career and why it's important for you to understand from the get-go once we come back.
Want to expand your business today or attend to an emergency? Gisort na Logbook Loan, a business loan solution that allows you to leverage your logbook as security, making the application process both efficient and easy. You can borrow up to a maximum of 1 million shillings, processed within 24 hours with a repayment period of 24 months. All you need is your original logbook, original ID and KRA PIN, 6 months bank statement to M-Pesa